Hey guys, welcome back to Ace Recaps. Today I'm going to be explaining a 2022 Hindi crime action film titled, Malang Unleash the Madness. Advait, a reckless and irresponsible young man, ends up in prison, where he spends 5 years daydreaming about the day he can be free and exact revenge on the people who destroyed his pregnant girlfriend's life. The young man is in a detention center, working on his body while the local authority twirls his bracelet meaningfully in his hands. The alarm goes off, and the guy walks out into the common corridor, where he is already waiting for the crime boss's henchmen. To the approval of the other prisoners, the man immediately joins the fight and scatters his enemies. Despite the number of attackers, he persists in making his way to the exit, to the courtyard, where he encounters his adversary. After scattering all of his aides, the guy engages in the main battle, wins, and receives his bracelet back. A man is consuming substances in a small restroom of a local cafe on the Goan coast at this time. He walks out and starts singing karaoke to the bar owner's approval. The owner tells him that his business is doing well because he deals in illegal drugs in his cafe chain, but recently one of the new waiters refused to participate in the lucrative earnings, so the owner had to kill him. The owner and the cheerful customer both laugh, and then a gunshot is heard. A police officer standing at the cafe's entrance rushes in and grabs the customer over the owner's body. But then he realizes the visitor is his boss. Inspector Agashi is well known for preferring to dispose of known criminals by murdering them and faking their death. This time he chose to physically destroy the substance distributor rather than take him to the police station. Advait, the man from the beginning of the film, calls Inspector Agashi outside the cafe and informs him of the impending murder of a police officer, and wishes him a happy solstice. Michael, a trustworthy cop who always follows the rules, is having dinner with his family. Relatives overlook Michael and Teresa's strained relationship and praise the couple, lamenting the couple's lack of children. Teresa goes to get some cake. Michael follows and notices the woman texting on her phone. The man reads the correspondence after waiting for her to leave, becoming convinced of his wife's intentions to leave him and tie her life to another man, but he does not pretend to know her secret at this point. Then he learns of the death of his friend and colleague Victor. The officer was severely beaten before being hung over the house's entrance. At the scene, Michael encounters Agashi, who wishes to find and eliminate the murderer, whereas Michael wishes to imprison him. In the background, we see a recently released man beating and killing a police officer after injecting him in the neck. While the killer Advait unties the knot on his bracelet and walks away from the crime scene, Agashi warns him that this will be the longest night for them. Time rolls back 5 years. Sara, a young girl, packs her belongings, gives her electronics to a homeless man, and leaves home, while Advait does the same in another part of the world. They leave their previous lives behind and travel to Goa. The young people have fun, go to parties, use illegal substances and live their lives until their paths cross at one of the rave parties. The couple attends another party, where they meet Jessica. They have a great time dancing and swimming in the night sea, and the next morning Sara tells Advait that he's just one of the knots on her bracelet that represent her triumph over her fears. He has helped her overcome her loneliness, and she has untied it, but now she's going her own way. The stunned man discovers that the girl does not have a phone, which means he will most likely never see her again. Following the murder, the action shifts to Christmas Eve. While the cops are questioning a suspected drug distributor, Advait goes to Jessica's house. The man adamantly denies any involvement. Agashi pulls out a gun and shows how it can be used as a hammer or screwdriver. Michael interrupts further examination of the gun. He is adamantly opposed to such interrogation techniques. A fight breaks out between the officers, and the terrified detainee confesses that he was hired by a white girl with tattoos and dreadlocks. She is immediately placed on the wanted list, and Agashi is reminded of the man in the red hoodie who appeared on the surveillance video of their colleague's house. At this point, Advait dials Agashi's number again. The dealers will not assist in his capture, but he will easily find and murder another police officer. Advait wishes everyone a happy solstice. The officer on duty reports that the call came in from the carnival, where half of their squad is currently partying. Agashi rushes to the scene, issuing an APB to a man in a red hoodie while searching for another colleague at the parade. As dozens of police cars rush to the scene, Advait drags a man into an alley and beats him. The officer begs the man not to kill him, citing his family, but Advait mercilessly breaks his arms, and the man is stabbed in the neck and flies out the window right at Agasha's feet. For a brief moment, the cop and the murderer collide, but Advait slips away, taking advantage of the disguise. The action shifts back 5 years when Advait runs into Sara at the beach. The guy warns Sara that the cliff is unstable, and Sara plans to overcome her fear of heights by jumping down the cliff and then untying the next knot. When the two fall in love, they decide to travel together as friends. They have a great time swimming, sunbathing, and partying on the beach. Sara does not want to live in constant toil and childcare like her parents, and Advait prefers to live with his gadgets. For a time, the couple succeeds in living only for themselves, with no obligations or promises. The young people enjoy being careless, having fun, nature's wonders, and beautiful evenings. They overcome their fear of heights by skydiving together and untie the next knot. Jessica becomes ill at a party one day and requests a shot for having consumed too much of the substance. Because she always has an antidote syringe with her, she survived the overdose. It turns out, she makes her money by selling her body. She too visited Goa as a tourist, but the life there overwhelmed her. This incident causes Sara to reflect on her life and remember her parents at Christmas. Advait lifts the girl's spirits by taking her to someone's house where they dress up and have a Christmas party. Advait recalls all of this as he walks through the city's lively streets. Several years ago, the dead officers, along with another of their colleagues, were investigating a substance case in which a man named Advait was imprisoned. In that case, a woman named Jessica was involved. Michael lashes out at the journalist after he says his wife should be shown courage. Agashi is perplexed by his colleague's behavior and sends him home, but word spreads that the third member of the trio is present at the stadium at the time. The cops rush over, but Advait is already on the stand, and he discovers his victim and escort in the hallway. At this point, Michael locates Jessica and pursues her. The lights go out in the hallway, the fire suppression system activates, and Advait opens fire, killing everyone except his adversary, who flees to the roof. Moments later, the cop falls from a great height onto a parked car. Michael tracks down Jessica at her home, while Advait flees into the underground parking garage. Jessica pours gasoline on the walls, and Agashi notices Advait standing calmly in front of his car. Michael, who bursts in, sees the burning pictures on the wall and realizes that he too is the target of vengeance. Agashi is about to shoot Advait when he kneels down and surrenders to the police. The firefighters rescue Michael from the blaze and report Advait's arrest on the way to the police station. Agashi is perplexed as to why the man surrendered, given that he could have gotten lost in the crowd and his face appears strangely familiar to him. 5 years ago, Sara discovers she is pregnant. That same evening, she overhears a young girl and her father, who turns out to be Agashi, pleading with her father to leave her alone. Sara is clearly visible in the background as the girl records a video message. Meanwhile, a frustrated Agashi tells his assistant that the previously released criminal must be apprehended and locked up again as the law requires, at which point the cops launch an operation to apprehend the dealers, who turn out to be the same party where Sara and Advait are. A shootout ensues, during which Agashi's daughter is shot and dies in her father's arms. Sara understands her parents and decides to keep the child after witnessing Agashi's breakdown over his daughter's death. She informs Advait, and he flees. Agashi's reaction to his daughter's death results in addiction and personality change. Advait travels and meets new girls, but he is always reminded of Sara. He rushes back after seeing his friend's touching relationship with his wife, but Sara isn't home, so he runs to Jessica's to find her. He bursts into the room after hearing a noise outside the door. In the present, there is no evidence on Advait. He's not on camera, and there's nothing against him. Agashi offers to shoot him, seemingly while fleeing, but Michael demands a confession. He enters the interrogation room, where Michael's past and the truth about Sara and Advait are revealed. Michael's friends teased him about getting married. He's still unmarried. What if his bride dislikes him and they advise him to visit Jessica? But when he meets Teresa, he refuses intimacy before marriage because she touches him. Michael seeks Jessica's help because he is concerned that his lack of sexual experience will make him appear ridiculous. Sara was temporarily living with Jessica at the time, and Michael misidentifies her and shows her the money. The girl is enraged, and the cop beats her up because he can't act like a man. Advait walks in and discovers Michael attempting to strangle Sara. He steps in and calls the cops. Officers arrive and take Advait and Sara to the bridge, where they are brutally beaten in order to avoid a scandal with Michael, whom the victims intend to report. The girl is injected with a lethal substance and thrown into the river, wishing her a happy solstice. Advait is also injected and imprisoned on drug distribution charges. In the present, Michael tells Advait that his father was abusive and his mother took it out on him, causing him to lose his manhood. Even after getting married, he tried to conceal this fact as best he could. Sara, realizing the truth, signed her own sentence, and he killed Jessica today, and it felt better than love. 3 of the officers are murderers. Only Agashi and Advait dislike killing, while Michael thinks it's the best feeling in the world. Advait, unable to take it any longer, beats the scumbag, but the cops apprehend him. Michael hands the man over to Agashi, who will drive Advait out of the station and kill him. Before leaving, Michael wishes Agashi a happy solstice, which makes him wonder about Advait's vengeance. He keeps watching his daughter's last video and eventually remembers where he saw the couple. Agashi takes Advait back to the bridge where it all started. While Michael returns home, he notices Teresa about to leave him and begins to beat her. Advait informs Agashi that Michael and his associates murdered Sara. Michael is planning to murder his wife. He begins strangling Teresa, after which Advait says he gave himself up for Michael to go home where he will be killed. Agashi is perplexed as to who can kill Michael if the killer is present, and Michael is suddenly injected with a drug in his neck, and when he turns around, he sees Sara alive and well, dressed in a red hoodie. In the flashback, Jessica saves Sara by injecting her with the antidote, but she loses the baby. Sara and Advait plotted their vengeance for 5 years and carried out all of the murders together. Agashi is shocked to learn that Michael has been murdered in his own home. He reluctantly releases Advait due to a lack of evidence, and Teresa informs the police that she saw a man in a red hoodie but is unable to identify him. Advait and Sara achieve peace and begin a new life. The film ends with Agashi receiving a phone call from an unknown woman informing him of an impending murder, just as Advait did. What would you guys do if corrupt cops killed your wife and child? Would you let it go, or would you do anything it takes to get your revenge? That's all, folks. Thank you for watching. If you like the video, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Have a great day.